podcasting's choice. From coast to coast, continent to continent, right here 24/7.
PNR.
This podcast is a proud member of the Lamb Podcasting Network. Find the network at largeassmovieblogs.com.
Spanning the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe, this is Subject Cinema's Avengers Endgame MCU Countdown.
The hits don't stop till we get to the top, as Casey Kasem used to say. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah, I guess you listened to American Top 40. I didn't.
Welcome to Subject Cinema's Avengers Endgame MCU Countdown. I'm TC Kirkham.
I'm Kim Brown.
It is April 11th, 2019, and we are up to movie 7 in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and that is Iron Man 3. We mentioned it a little while on the Avengers yesterday. The Avengers concluded the Phase 1 movies, and Iron Man 3 launches Phase 2.
Yes.
Why did we need phases? It's not like a moon.
I think it's just the simple fact that each phase focuses on a specific group of characters and also tells a specific story.
It's so confusing.
It's not
like if you haven't seen the Avengers, you're not going to get Iron Man 3. Because Tony Stark is suffering from severe PTSD after nearly suffocating in the void of space, getting rid of the Chitauri in the Avengers.
Yes.
Into this mix comes a handicapped scientist, another scientist who Tony kind of falls hard for, and a mysterious villain causing all kinds of problems. Mm-hmm. And along the way, Tony picks up a sidekick, a little kid from rural America that could have some more implications in the MCU than people believe. It was a good film. I think we both liked it, and you'll hear that in our review. So let's go back to May 5th, 2013, Subject Cinema, number 394. Robert Downey Jr., Gwyneth Paltrow, Guy Pearce, Rebecca Hall,
Ty
Simpkins, and
Sir Ben Kingsley.
In Iron Man 3.
Got a lot of apologies to make.
Nothing's been the same since New York. You experience things, and then they're over. I can't sleep. And when I do, I have nightmares. Honestly...
Okay, we already know that it is a box office bonanza. I misquoted it earlier. It's $175 million. It is the second biggest opening of all time behind the Avengers. What else can you say? Robert Downey Jr., Guy Pearce, Gwyneth Paltrow, Iron Man 3. Give us the rundown.
We begin in 1999 when Tony Stark is at a party, which is something you can see him at a lot, and he is...
Tony Stark at a party? Really?
Yeah, I know.
Who would have thought?
I know. He winds up meeting two interesting people, one of them whom he spends the night with, and I'll give you a hint, it's not scientist Aldrich Killian. No, it's scientist Maya Hansen. But he meets Aldrich, who kind of pushes his way into Tony's world, and Tony tells him he'll meet him on the roof in 5 minutes. It never happens. Years later, Tony is, known to the world as being Iron Man, and the world also knows about the existence of the Avengers because this film occurs after the Avengers.
It's part of Cycle 2. The beginning of Cycle 2 of the Marvel stories.
And unfortunately, Tony's been having panic attacks dealing with what happened to him in the Avengers, the whole falling through the wormhole business and all that other stuff. things aren't really going all that good on the home front either. There's a lot of tension between him and his girlfriend Pepper Potts because Tony's spending a lot of time building all these new Iron Man prototype uniforms, suits of armor and stuff, probably to keep from sleeping, because when he sleeps he has terrible nightmares. The world at large is being besieged by a terrorist organization headed up by an evil, shadowy figure known as the Mandarin, who is threatening all kinds of mayhem and terror, and specifically sending out threats against the President of the United States, who is being watched by and protected over by Colonel Rhodey Rhodes, wearing the Stark-designed suit, and known now as the Iron Patriot.
I like War Machine better.
I do too. But it didn't test well
Iron
with
Patriot.
but it didn't test well with focus groups.
No.
Anyway. Tony makes a brash statement to the Mandarin, "You want me, come get me." And the Mandarin answers it violently. Tony's presumed to be dead, although the audience knows that he's not.
So does the Mandarin.
Yeah, unfortunately, so does the Mandarin. But is the Mandarin all he seems? And now that Aldrich Killian's back in the forefront and looking a lot different than he did previously, things are taking on a very interesting turn. And what is going on with this whole extremist program and a shadowy organization known as AIM?
With Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark and Iron Man, Gwyneth Paltrow as Pepper Potts, Don Cheadle as Colonel James Rhodes, Guy Pearce as Aldrich Killian, Rebecca Hall as Maya Hampson, Ben Kingsley as the Mandarin, James Badge Dale as Savin, one of his henchmen, Paul Bettany as the voice of Jarvis, William Sadler as President Ellis, Ty Simpkins as Harley Keener, and Miguel Ferrer as Vice President Rodriguez. And also, of course, starring Jon Favreau as Happy Hogan. What is your opinion?
My opinion is 3 words that have been used over and over again, but in this case, they really ring true really, really well.
Uh-huh.
Make mine Marvel. They did it again. They gave us a great superhero movie. It's funny, it's fast, it's action-paced. But there's a real undercurrent of humanity in it. I enjoyed the heck out of it. The acting was fantastic. You could tell everybody's having a great time. There's a great plot twist, which we definitely won't give away.
There's 2 or 3 of them actually throughout the course of the movie, yeah.
And of course, do we have to stay all the way to the end? Do we really have to say that anymore?
There's a post credit, yeah.
Yeah. I had a blast. I thought it was terrific. What about you?
This is easily my favorite Iron Man film so far. I love the first 2 also, but this one...
You weren't that fond of the second one.
Well, no, the second one was okay. I just didn't think that Mickey Rourke got enough screen time as the bad guy. He really didn't do that much, and the end battle was kind of... But this time, there's no problem with the end battle. It's awesome. The whole movie is awesome. Lots of great special effects. Let me talk a little bit about the people here. Robert Downey Jr. was made to play Tony Stark. He's talking about that this is going to be it. I don't think it is. He's entered negotiations again. He knows this is the part he's born to play. He loves doing it, and you can see that when he plays it. He's so funny. The chemistry between him and Gwyneth Paltrow is fantastic, and with him and Don Cheadle as these friends that Don is like in one of the suits. Always fun. I got a great deal of delight seeing Ty Simpkins on screen. Ty has been sitting on the Rising Stars shortlist this year, and this might pop him into the top 10. He plays a pivotal role in this film, in the middle part of it, and him and Downey Jr. have a great chemistry also, and it's really something to look for. The action here is great. The plot lines are great. There's all kinds of twisties and turnies. But I have one complaint with it, and it's a big one. The main plot line that involves the bad guys has been seen before not all that long ago in another Marvel movie. the main plot line is about as you said, the Extremis experiment. There are volunteers taking part in this thing going on. Not unlike the sort of recruitment that was going on with the similar character that Kevin Bacon played in X-Men First Class. The storyline is identical. It's just turned slightly sideways. And when it comes to that part of the plot, I was sitting there going, haven't I seen this before? But it's turned enough that it's easily watched and said. I mean, if you actually sit down knowing that you can look for this and look at this line of thinking and say, damn, that's very close. Obviously, you didn't think that way.
No, I didn't. I
Now that I've brought it up, do you think that?
No.
Okay.
I don't.
So you got enough pleasure out of just Iron Man flying around.
I did. I'm sorry. I got enough. I got enough enjoy. It's a completely different thing to me. To me, it's completely different.
I think there's very close similarities, but it is, as I said, it's turned enough that it makes no difference, and it makes it work in this movie as well. Guy Pearce is phenomenal in his role as Aldrich Killian. He's quite good in everything. That man can morph into anything.
He's another one. He's definitely. We were saying this after we saw the film. He's not one of those, hey, it's that guy, because he's too A-list for that. But he's definitely one of those people that when you see he's going to be in a film, you're like, what accent is he going to do this time? Because he's that good.
He can play, really uptight, good, but not quite good, like he did in Animal Kingdom. He can play, just uptight, upper crust, snooty, like in The King's Speech. He can bury himself under makeup and play other roles. And I'm always like, who is that? And you're always like, it's Guy Pearce again. And I'm like, oh, yeah. Because you recognize him, but not quite every time, especially at the beginning in the 99 sequence. Without a doubt, this is the best of the 3 Iron Man movies so far, and I love the first two with reservations. This one, despite my belief about the plot line, it works here, and the chemistry between all the characters is fantastic, and the end post-credits thing, a riot. What's your score?
I give Iron Man an A.
I give it an A-. It is absolutely, there's that word again, I use that too much, the best Iron Man film ever, and it is definitely a winner at the box office already. I have a feeling it's going to be running all summer long. Catch it if you can. I really thought this was fun.
I thought
the ending of it was kind of weird because I didn't realize that, not being, and Anthony's going to get mad at me for this, a comic reader presently. I used to be years ago, but I was a DC. I didn't read much Marvel except the Avengers, but I didn't read the solo stuff. I didn't realize that Pepper eventually ended up with interesting superpowers of her own.
Yes.
Although I don't think they did it this way in the comics.
I'm not sure.
In any case, Tony's feeling much better, back to his arrogant, snarky self.
Yeah.
By the end of the film. Guy Pearce is a very interesting villain. I like him practically in everything I've ever seen him in. And he can just morph into all these different types of roles. We've seen him play a ruthless cop on the trail of a murderous crime family in Animal Kingdom, and then we saw him play the Duchess, the Duke of Windsor.
Duke of Windsor.
And the King's Speech. Here, it's just like, okay.
Yeah. There was a lot about this film that I liked. Unfortunately, there was a lot of this about this film that a lot of people didn't like.
Yeah, Ben Kingsley's wasn't the best. The Mandarin is a classic Iron Man villain.
Yes.
And they didn't do it quite the way that they did it in the comics. In fact, they didn't do it at all like they did it in the comics.
No. And that whole thing is the thing that bothered me because there was no pleasing people. If they had done, because the Mandarin is, I don't know if I'd call him Tony's arch nemesis, but he's definitely up there on Tony's list of bad guys that he fights a lot. If they had done the Mandarin exactly the way they did the Mandarin in the comic books, people would have lost their minds. People would have gone back guano crazy.
Yeah, they would have.
And
Well, it's
screamed,
not Egg Foo.
No.
It was one of Wonder Woman's villains in the 60s.
But it was the 60s and people were doing wheelbarrows full of drugs because that is the only way that explains that character. I mean, Egg Foo, not the Mandarin.
Yeah.
But like I was saying, if they did that character exactly the way they did it in the comics, people would have gone mental. They would have screamed, "You're promoting negative stereotypes and racism and
Was
blah,
he
blah,
really
blah, blah,
any
blah."
different? Is he really that much different in the long run from, like, say, a classic Chinese villain like Wo Fat from the Y50 shows, both shows, the original and the new one?
Well, other than the fact that the Mandarin in the comics, I don't hate all you Marvel fans.
Yeah.
I mean, he did look like, I'm not sure if they use him right now.
Right.
He looked like the stereotypical Asian villain,
Right.
the Fu Manchu mustache, the long nails,
Okay.
the whole bit,
Right.
and all that. And like I said, if they had done that right out of the comics, people would have gone mad.
Yeah, but what they came up with was...
See, what they did...
Okay.
Yeah, but the thing is, what they did, I thought was interesting, and what they added onto it with one of the Marvel shorts...
Yeah, another one-shot with the character.
I think that added even more. And I liked that aspect of it.
Yeah, you can actually find most of the Marvel one-shots on Marvel's YouTube channel now. So if you need to see them, and you should see them all in addition to these,
Yeah.
definitely do. The big question about Iron Man 3, though, is Harley Keener. Harley Keener, played by Ty Simpkins, was at the time 11 or 12 years old, and was very important to Tony in this movie. But it's really a one-shot character, or so people thought, unless you do your research. Ty signed a 3-picture deal with Marvel. Mm-hmm. And we know for a fact he's appearing in Endgame. Now, the speculation...
Spoiler alert.
It's not a spoiler. It's all over the IMDb, all over the Wikipedia, all over every major news articles. He is
but
there.
some people are.
We don't know how he's going to be used.
Yeah.
So
some people are avoiding that stuff because they don't want.
You can't avoid the cast. I mean, you just can't. There's no way to do it.
No.
In any case, he is in Endgame, and people are speculating again as to what his real purpose might be, because Endgame is only his second in his 3-picture contract.
Yep.
Ty is 17 now. He's become a bigger star since starring in Jurassic World a few years ago, and is now doing quite a few other things. So, what's he going to do?
I don't know.
I mean, people have speculated that maybe he might be just showing up in a flashback, because there's rumors that there's a lot of time travel in this movie. People are rumors that he shows up for Tony Stark's funeral, which we don't know is going to happen. I personally don't think it is. And there's also rumors that Tony is going to hand off the Iron Man suit to him, which is the one rumor that was really flipping around a few years ago. The other one that was floating around at the time the movie came out was that Harley would turn out to be Peter Quill. That made no sense whatsoever, even then. Thank goodness that didn't happen. I can't stand that character. We'll get to that a little bit later on in our little miniseries. Tomorrow, on show number 8, we will get into the movie that is, unfortunately, by many critics, considered the worst of all of the Marvel Universe films. I don't quite know why. I don't think it's as bad as everybody else does, but we'll talk about it tomorrow. That's Thor, The Dark World, and that is coming up on the next installment of the Subject Cinema MCU Countdown, all in time for Avengers Endgame. Until then, I'm TC Kirkham.
I'm Kim Brown.
Keep counting down with this. You're going to love it.
This podcast is a proud member of the Lamb Podcasting Network. Find the network at largeassmovieblogs.com.
Podcasting's choice. From coast to coast, continent to continent, right here 24/7.